Welcome back. Today we're exploring how US policy changes in 2025, especially new tariffs, could impact your travels across Asia. You might be planning your next adventure, but a single policy decision in Washington can ripple across the globe, affecting your passport, your wallet, and your experience. We'll break down how these shifts could influence tourism, trade, student visas, and business in 10 key Asian countries. Think of this as your pre-travel briefing, connecting the dots between politics and your next trip. No predictions, just a clear look at how policy shapes real-world travel. So, grab a coffee, and let's see how a vote in America could change your journey through Asia. Let's dive in. First up, China. The US-China relationship is a roller coaster, and new tariffs, possibly up to 60%, could shake things up for travelers. If tariffs rise, China may retaliate with higher visa fees, fewer tour group approvals, or a chillier welcome for Americans. Business travelers could see trips rerouted as companies shift operations to places like Vietnam or Mexico. Educational exchanges may suffer, with fewer student visas and less collaboration between universities. The result? Less cultural exchange, more uncertainty, and a travel environment where rules change fast. Even tourists could feel the tension, as political disputes spill over into daily interactions. When superpowers clash, planning a trip to the Great Wall can feel like a gamble. Instability and unpredictability become the new normal. People want to travel where they feel safe and welcome. In a deepening trade war, that sense of security can vanish overnight. The butterfly effect is real. One policy shift can change your entire travel experience. For now, keep an eye on the headlines if China's on your itinerary. The political climate could shape your trip more than you think. Next, India, the world's largest democracy and a rising tech powerhouse. US-India ties are strong, but sweeping tariffs could disrupt everything from tech jobs to student exchanges. H-1B visas might get tighter, making it harder for Indian professionals to work in the US and for Americans to collaborate in India. Indian students, a major presence on US campuses, may look elsewhere if visa hurdles rise. Trade disputes could also slow India's economic growth, impacting tourism infrastructure and the overall travel vibe. Retaliatory tariffs could make American goods pricier in India and dampen the welcome for US tourists. Regional stability could be at risk if US-India relations cool, making travel less predictable. For travelers, uncertainty is the enemy of adventure. When alliances shift, so does the travel landscape. India's allure remains, but the political winds could change your experience. Vietnam has thrived as companies moved manufacturing from China, but new US tariffs could put the brakes on this boom. If Vietnam becomes a target, its export-driven economy could slow, affecting everything from business travel to tourism development. Fewer business trips, delayed infrastructure projects, and a less vibrant atmosphere could follow. Economic anxiety might replace the optimism that's defined modern Vietnam. Diplomatic strains could also shift how Americans are received. The US-Vietnam partnership has grown, but a trade fight could sour public opinion. For travelers, the ripple effects are real: less investment, fewer opportunities, and a different vibe on the ground. International relations shape personal experiences even on vacation. Vietnam's future as a travel hotspot may hinge on global politics. Indonesia, 17,000 islands, endless adventure, and an economy tied to global trade. New US tariffs could trigger economic tension, hitting tourism hard, especially in Bali, where international visitors keep the lights on. Economic downturns mean less investment in infrastructure and tougher times for local businesses. US policy could also target environmental or human rights issues, complicating travel with new restrictions or advisories. A political dispute could deter visitors, impacting everyone from hotel owners to market vendors. Indonesia's role in ASEAN means strained US ties could affect regional stability, making travel feel less secure. Even paradise isn't immune to global politics. For travelers, regional calm is key. Political storms can make even the calmest waters feel uncertain. Keep an eye on the headlines before booking that Bali escape. Malaysia sits at the crossroads of tech and tradition, with a booming electronics sector and stunning natural beauty. US pressure to bring semiconductor manufacturing home could hit Malaysia's economy hard. Economic downturns mean less funding for infrastructure and rising social tensions, both of which affect travelers. Diplomatic friction over trade or human rights could stir anti-American sentiment. making visits less comfortable. Malaysia's strategic role in the South China Sea adds another layer. Strained ties could weaken security cooperation. For travelers, regional stability and a welcoming atmosphere are everything. When politics disrupts the balance, the travel experience changes. Malaysia's future as a tech hub and tourist destination depends on how these global forces play out. Your beach vacation is more connected to geopolitics than you might think. Thailand, famous for its hospitality and tourism-driven economy, could feel the sting of US tariffs too. Tariffs on Thai exports would strain the economy, reducing funds for parks, historic sites, and public transport. A weaker baht might make travel cheaper for Americans, but economic instability brings inflation and unrest. Regional slowdowns could mean fewer tourists from China and beyond, shrinking the vibrant tourism scene. Closed businesses and a less lively atmosphere could follow. US-Thailand military ties are deep, but a shift in US policy could weaken regional stability. For travelers, safety and predictability are key. When alliances falter, even paradise can feel uncertain. The land of smiles may face new challenges if global politics shift. The Philippines shares a unique personal bond with the US, rooted in history, family, and a massive diaspora. Remittances from Filipino Americans are vital. Stricter US immigration or economic downturns could hit families hard. Political disputes could spark nationalist backlash, making Americans feel less welcome. The US-Philippines military alliance is crucial for regional security, especially in the South China Sea. A more transactional US approach could weaken this partnership, creating a security vacuum. Visa restrictions or hostile rhetoric could slow the constant flow of tourists, students, and families. The bridge between the two nations is built on people, not just policy. Political rifts would have real personal costs for millions. For travelers, the warmth of the Philippines is legendary, but politics could change the welcome. The stakes are deeply human. South Korea is a global cultural and tech powerhouse, tightly linked to the US by trade and security. New tariffs could disrupt exports and trigger retaliation, shaking up business and supply chains. The US military presence deters North Korea, but a more isolationist US could use this as a bargaining chip. Any hint of weakened security sends shockwaves through the region, making travelers nervous. The Korean wave draws young Americans, but souring relations could dampen enthusiasm and cultural exchange. Headlines about trade disputes and military funding can tarnish South Korea's positive image. For travelers, stability is key. Uncertainty can deter visits and investment. Even the coolest pop culture can't escape politics. South Korea's future as a travel hotspot depends on the strength of its US ties. Watch the headlines if Seoul is on your list. Japan's alliance with the US is a cornerstone of Pacific stability and a magnet for American tourists. Heavy tariffs on Japanese cars would hit the economy hard and likely spark retaliation. Trade friction could weaken the yen, good for tourists' wallets, but a sign of deeper problems. A transactional US approach might link security guarantees to trade, causing anxiety in Tokyo. Shifts in public sentiment could subtly affect the famed Japanese hospitality toward Americans. Tech and innovation partnerships could suffer, slowing progress in AI, robotics, and more. For travelers, a strained alliance means less predictability and possibly a different experience. Japan's unique blend of tradition and modernity is shaped by its global ties. Political rifts could change the very character of your visit. Pakistan's relationship with the US is defined by geopolitics, not tourism or trade. A US aid cut or withdrawal could destabilize Pakistan's economy and security, creating a power vacuum. This could embolden extremist groups and worsen travel safety, making advisories more severe. The US has played a key role in mediating tensions with India. Stepping back could raise the risk of conflict between two nuclear powers. Pakistan would likely pivot further toward China, reshaping the region's balance of power. For the rare traveler or NGO worker, instability would make visits nearly impossible. The stakes are global. What happens here affects security and travel across Asia. In Pakistan, politics and travel are inseparable. That's our whirlwind tour. 10 Asian nations, all shaped by decisions in Washington. Your passport is more than a travel document, it's a reflection of global politics. The price of your flight, the welcome you receive, and the safety you feel are all connected to policy. Being aware of these links makes you a smarter, more conscious traveler. If you found this helpful, hit subscribe and join the conversation below. Have politics ever changed your travel plans? Let's keep the discussion respectful and learn from each other's experiences. Until next time, travel safe, travel smart, and stay curious.